Shalom and good evening, everyone. As I had shared in the previous video that came out today, well, really tonight, I told you I would come back and go over with you about the second quarter. So this is one of the parts that's very important because with this part of record keeping, dealing with the father calendar, it will help you to see what Enoch is saying to you as well as with his other prophets who was given the divine knowledge dealing with his calendar. Now his calendar is made up of three lights, which are the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth. So take this time now. I just found a picture, just to give you an idea what is the second quarter. What do we be looking at? Okay. When you study the calendar, you will learn that he divided the year into four seasons, which are spring, summer, fall, and winter. And in those four seasons, each of them have 3 months. Now, the two lights that dictate unto us what are the season or when these seasons begin are the sun and Mazzaroth. So they work together in keeping the moon aligned with the proper season. This is how she knows when to reduce the 13th month. Another nugget I would like to share with you, when you understand the 13th month, it reminds me of about Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. He had a total of 13 children, and how he got 13, remember, he had a set of twins born. And their name was Zebulon and Dinah, and Dina was the only girl child that he had. So I just think it's amazing how you can see how these numbers relate to certain biblical events or biblical history or lineage, because we can begin to see the mindset of our Father. And we know the moon is a she, okay? The scriptures tell us that, as well as the sun is a he, Mazar for he, and you see how they represent something, okay, to remind you of something. Also, we learn from past readings that 3 equals 1. That's a mystery in that. Because these things that the Father made reflects on what's in heaven, okay? To give you more understanding about him and his Godhead, a lot of mysteries that many don't see unless the Spirit show it unto you. So anyway, we're going to look at the second quarter of this year, and the year that I'm talking about deals with, it falls in between the heathens' two of their years, because you know how the Most High works. Okay, it is completely different from what they teach us in school. So his year will fall between the heathen year known as 2021 and 2022. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. So the title of this video is the second quarter of the year of 2021 to 2022. Okay. So when you go to the calendar, and it be listed in the video description box, I list some link, and one of the links to deal with the end of the year summary report. And this is very important to keep a record, because it's like a summary sheet where I don't have to go through all my calendar records. I can kind of put my hand on what I need to find. If I want to know who sighted, if I want to know when was the new moon sighted, why they got different numbers, this and that. Well, I have a summary sheet that the Father helped me to put this together. Okay. So in this summary sheet, I have certain information up there so I can have, to have throughout from year to year. Okay. So, I keep up like such as like the count towards Shemitah and Jubilee. When was the last 13 months seen? Stuff like that. When was the new moon seen? Such as dealing with the father calendar, dealing with Brother Hashur, and dealing with Jerusalem, modern day Jerusalem. All of that's good stuff. Then I also look at how many blood moons we have, solar eclipses, super moons, micro moons, and partial lunar eclipse. All that good stuff. Okay, so this sheet really helps me to see what Enoch is saying unto me. Also, it serves as a check and balance to make sure that I did my math correctly, because we are all human, we can make mistakes. Okay, and also is to compare to what others have. Like, I'm comparing this to the fourth beast calendar, because you see how they start their year. It's out of place, out of order, out of season. And this is why their numbers would be higher than ours, as well as comparison to Brother Hashur and to the Jewish known as the Yahad. Okay. So what we're going to look at now is the second quarter. And what I look at comparing the moon calendar days to the moon actual timing. And I do that the same with the sun, because when you go in time of day, they just started adding this to give us an idea how many days are in a season. And what they're really looking at is exact timing. Exact time. Remember, calendar days is different from actual timing of how these lights move in their circuit. So when you understand the difference between the two, then you can see um, how this can help you understand Enoch's writings. Okay, so we're going to look at the second quarter. And the second quarter will deal with summer. Now, this is what you see on this screen, just dealing with the next upcoming year. However, luckily, I took a picture of that where we have it on this sheet. Okay, so what I did, I think I put that picture higher up. Yeah, so right here you can see, and let me blow this up where you can really see it. So according to their records for the summer of 2021, and they remember they start counting from solstice to equinox. That's how they do. That's how you will figure it out. So their actual timing is 93 days, 15 hours, and 49 minutes. Okay, so that's what they got. And I like to compare to what I have just to make sure if I'm coming close, looking at if my method, if am I using the correct method, etc. Now, unfortunately for the moon, the world do not follow the new moon crescent, so unfortunately we don't have an exact timing of that. So with the moon, I do have to do something slightly different. Okay. But what I'm looking at is an estimation, just getting the idea. So what I do with the moon, I go to timeanddate.com looking at the moon phases for Arad Israel. And I look at what is the actual timing of the moon moving in her circuit. So I look at these numbers here that they have, and I plug it in on my sheet. Okay, and then I have listed here the calendar days that I have in the Father's calendar to compare. So how I figure out these numbers is that I add up these numbers together, the fourth month, the fifth month, and the sixth month of the Most High calendar. Remember, it's completely different. For example, the fourth month started in July this year. Okay. The fifth month started in the eighth month. Started in August, in the heathen month, August. And the sixth month started in the heathen month known as September. Okay. So you can see it's completely different than what the Gentiles have in their calendar year, which is the fourth beast calendar. So when I add when I add the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth month of the Most High calendar days of the moon, I get a total of 89. Okay. Now, when I add it with the first quarter, remember the first quarter is spring, I added to that number, which is 88. That was the grand total. That was the grand total of the moon days for spring, and that's how I got 177 days. Now, the reason why this is so important because there's scriptures that are written by the prophet Enoch that talks about the moon having 177 days. That's something very important that you want to look at. Far as actual timing, now fortunately this is not exact because we're not going from crescent to crescent. What the heathens does, they go from dark moon to dark moon, and that's something that we don't follow as the children of light. But unfortunately, I don't have any of the resources to get an exact timing of each new moon crescent. So I have to just compare it to what we have. So the actual timing of that is 177 days, 8 hours, and 36 minutes. Now, when I compare it to Israel numbers, because remember, they did not keep a 13th moon, so I am keeping a track of what is what. So, for example, I added, let me go back up here. I went back and added the fourth, okay, the fifth, and the sixth month together, okay. So the fourth month of theirs had 30 days, the fifth month had 29, and the sixth month has 30. So I have for them, um, 88. Let me make sure I'm looking at this right. 30. I probably need to check my math. So I will be checking my math to make sure, because the problem is they don't follow the 358. So it's kind of hard to make sure that I'm not adding the wrong numbers. But I will go back and check. So it may be 88 or 89. But when I added all the numbers together from 1 through 6, I got a total of 178 days. So as you see, it doesn't align up to what Enoch's written. Now with Brother Hashur, he got a total of 177. But keep in mind, there are some days that he is seeing the new moon different from us. Okay. But when you look at his numbers, you will see why or how he came up to 88. Okay. So for example, in the 6th month, he had 28 days. I have not seen a moon's month having 28 days. Okay. But like I said, you have to just look at their numbers to see how they got what they got. So let me do this math right here quick for the Jewish. In the 4th month, they have 30 days. 5th month, 29. So that's 59. 6th month is 30. So that should be 89. Let me correct that. So they had 89. Then 89 plus 89 would be 178. Yep, 178. So I'm glad I got that corrected. Now, let's look at the sun. As far as I recall, but I'll probably go back and check. I don't have any blood moons, solar eclipses, supermoons, micromoons, or partial lunar eclipses, but I will go back and check my calendar to make sure and update it. Okay. Now, as far as the sun, looking at the fourth beast, you know, they start their year in January, so this is why their numbers will be way ahead than what we actually have for the sun year or the tropical year. Okay, so with the fourth beast, they are already at 243 days, dealing with from January to August. From January to August. Okay, now, as far as the second quarter, they have a total of 92 days. 92 days. And how I got that number is that I add up the days of June, July, and August, and I got 92. Okay. How I got for the mid-year quarter is how I got 243. I added to the first year quarter that they had. Okay. So when you compare to what we actually have according to the sun's year, the sun's for the mid-year, for its mid-year, only had 187 days. Do you see the big difference between the heathen days of the sun and between the father days of the sun? Now looking at actual timing of the sun, how the sun is moving in the circuit, I have 186 days, 12 hours, and 44 minutes. And what was so amazing about my number for the mid-year, when I look at the grand total for the second quarter, in actual timing, I got 93 hours. 93 days, 15 hours, and 49 minutes. So this calculation here aligns up to what time of date has for the summer. For time of date has for the summer, okay, for those 3 months, from the solstice to the equinox, within that time of the fall equinox, they had a duration of 93 days, 15 hours, and 49 minutes of the actual timing. So for this quarter, I was able to get the same number for my exact timing. Now, is this always the same? No, because it depends on what site you go to get your date and time when the sun enter into each sign of Mazzaroth. And unfortunately, a lot of them don't have it listed towards Israel, so you have to convert that time. So this is where you're gonna have some variations. Okay, but at least in this quarter, which is the second quarter, at least I came close. At least I hit it right on the head. So we do match there. And then on this column here, I list notes of the dates where everybody see, the moon, or if something significant or something unusual. Okay. So this concludes the second quarter, which is summer, of what took place. Okay. Take this time now to pause your screen, and I hope you enjoy. Everyone have a good night, and remember to continue to preach that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, for it's truly at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize the people in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, for the Lamb set the example of the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism, and the apostle continued to both. If you have no one to baptize you, guess what? The water, the earth, and the heavens are a witness unto the Father, and they can report back unto him of those who had entered into the covenant. So you can exercise your faith with words. You can baptize yourself if you have no one to do it for you. And the same is with the Holy Spirit baptism. You don't have to go to no preacher, no building, no assembly, no synagogue. All you have to do is ask our Father in heaven, in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, in the name of his Son, and he shall give it unto you, according to your heart, your faith, and your works. Love you all, and shalom.